Hey guys, welcome to our podcast for this evening. Today, it's our Thanksgiving special. We are talking about Thanksgiving when it comes to special needs kids. We talk about our with Target closing on Thanksgiving, some funny news, and what we are thankful for. So, on to the podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Thinking is Infinite podcast with Joe
and John.
And today we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
coming up.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy
Happy early
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Day, whenever you actually are listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I don't really care. Or we don't really care.
But we just wanted you to listen, right? We don't care when.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
So the first segment we'd like to talk about is some things that are unique, and every episode, right? We always talk about the first segment we dedicate to the special needs community, and some of the things that Joe has overcome in the past, and what better to talk about on Thanksgiving week than Thanksgiving meal, right?
Yep.
So Joe, throughout the years, you have evolved quite a bit, and we've talked about that in all the episodes that we've had so far. I think we're on episode 10, right?
Yep.
And since we are sitting at Thanksgiving right now, of course, the traditional Thanksgiving meals is what? The turkey, right?
Turkey,
stuffing,
mashed
potatoes, yams, pies,
other different things.
apple pie, pumpkin pie.
Oh, I love pumpkin pie.
There are things you like, right? So what I want to do is talk to you about how you have evolved and how you handle Thanksgiving, because I know certain things on the Thanksgiving
menu
table are not necessarily things you may prefer.
Yeah, that's something that it's something that I've always kind of dealt with. I feel like turkey is actually something that I still will not eat. I will not eat turkey. I will not eat mashed potatoes. I've never tried yet. I've actually tried them like once.
Not a fan?
But I didn't really like them. Nah.
Love mashed potatoes.
I didn't like turkey
either.
Turkey. It was just like it was way too juicy.
Okay,
I feel like, and I never tried yams. The things that I eat on Thanksgiving are Mom's mac and cheese. She actually makes that a lot. She makes that, and I love it. And I also eat the pepperoni bread as like an appetizer.
Okay.
So that's what I eat on Thanksgiving, pretty much.
Well, pepperoni bread is a pretty good break from your normal of foods, right?
Yeah. When I was younger, I only used to eat chips. Actually, no, I'm not even kidding. I used to only eat chips. That's it. Also, with the pepperoni bread thing,
I love pepperoni.
One of my mom's friend Joey, or Joseph, made us he decided to make chicken bread, and it was actually really good too. We make like, instead of like pepperoni in the bread, it's chicken and cheese instead, with like sauce, and you like dip it in the sauce.
So it's like a chicken parm, like a red sauce, like a
kind of like a chicken roll. It's like it's like you put like the dough for the pepperoni bread, you put chicken in instead of pepperoni. So, and then you put like the cheese on top. You still put that on top. You put in the oven, like fried chicken. You put it in the oven, and it really does taste good.
So you like that too?
Yeah.
Now, one of the things, as you've gone older, I remember you used to eat chicken fingers on Thanksgiving. So if someone is listening and has a child in special needs, how about also times of eating? Because typically, a Thanksgiving dinner, most families have a tradition, right? They eat at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or whatever. Everyone has their own tradition. Some people eat late at night. But the whole point is, there is a tradition to Thanksgiving meals.
Exactly.
And it's not always like your normal dinner time.
Yes.
Do you find any struggles with adjusting your actual dinner time to Thanksgiving? Because I remember one year you did have a little bit of an issue.
A tiny bit, but not as much. I've mainly grown to handle later times. The reason being is because I've had other things that have helped me with that. For instance, I've had being like my broadcasting club has shoots that would go on to like 6, so that kind of forces my body to adjust to later times and to me eating at later times. And like I said, it's still something I struggle with a little bit, but I've mainly evolved past that. Not only due to that, but also due to the fact that sometimes, like, I would just not eat lunch because I'd forget my lunch or whatever. Like, those kind of little things really help me evolve. But to someone else who's probably out there with special needs, and I know there are a lot of people out there with that, I feel like there needs to be a gradual evolution toward a later time or an earlier time. You can't just force it at once.
Well, that's
it
what
has
I was
to be very gradual, very like, okay, now 15 minutes later this year, 30 minutes later this year, you know, like that kind of thing. Make it so it's gradual and much more.
Well, that's the challenge
easier.
to families that have maybe a child on the spectrum, right? Because if you have a child on the spectrum and they are typically used to eating at a certain period, a certain time of the night, every night, right? And then all of a sudden Thanksgiving comes, and let's just say it's a young child, boom, one day that dinner gets adjusted. Right? That's got to be a pretty big challenge for someone.
Yeah,
let's just say you're typically always eating dinner between
at this point,
at 5:30,
whatever. Yeah, at whatever point.
and then
you
all
do.
of a sudden, what if someone has a previous Thanksgiving tradition where you eat at 3 in the afternoon?
Then what do you do? Well, I feel like that's very hard, and the reason it is because Thanksgiving, you cook a lot of food. On Thanksgiving, you're cooking tons of stuff. So, in order to cook all that food and have to cook for someone on the spectrum is a lot. And
Absolutely.
that's why it can be very difficult to try to, do it like, it could be difficult both ways, because if you try to match what the child's eating time normally is, I feel like you kind of risk, number one, it always being that way, and number two, you risk, the whole idea of, like, you have to cook all this food, and you may not have the time to cook it, but if you don't, then the child's just gonna be, like, very hungry, or when they probably get angry when they're hungry. I know I do, but what I feel like
They call that hangry.
Yes, that's what they do, and I feel like what I would probably try to do is try to, like I said, maybe even, like, leading up to Thanksgiving, slowly start pushing it toward that time. Like, maybe even start, like, introducing days where you can push it toward that time. So, like, certain days, you'll kind of start to push dinner earlier so that you'll be prepared, so that the child will be prepared.
Yeah, but you have to understand that if the child, let's just say, the family dinner is at 3 on the Thanksgiving tradition, and your child with the special needs eats at 5, let's just say. Sometimes you just have to make adjustments and let the kid eat when he wants to eat. That's also another option. I know traditions can be in such a way that you want to kind of fit every year into a tradition, but one of the things I learned with special needs is sometimes you just have to break tradition and start a new tradition, right, Joe?
It's true. I feel like tradition is very powerful. Kind of what holds. I feel like it's kind of what holds certain things together. But I feel like in certain instances, you have to kind of either adjust or even break it entirely and kind of transition to another tradition. And I feel like transitioning from a tradition to a different one is difficult because, if you have a certain way of doing things, you're not going to want to change. It's just kind of human nature.
Right, but when you have a child with special needs and you're trying to prepare a Thanksgiving meal, and I've made mistakes with that too, and sometimes you want to fit. I want to fit you, Joseph, into what I want to do on Thanksgiving, and that's eat together and have turkey and mashed potatoes, and then you have to realize, okay, well, Joe's not going to eat the turkey, he's not going to eat the mashed potatoes, so what is he going to eat? And, things like you said, mac and cheese is something good. So I think the moral of it is be prepared to cook an alternate meal, right? Even though Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving, or find the thing that the kid may like, right?
Yeah.
And number 2, also adjust either maybe let the child know beforehand that feeding time is going to be your dinner time. Everyone's going to eat dinner at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's just say for argument's sake, 3 o'clock is the dinner time.
Yeah, that's actually our dinner time.
One of the things I always knew with you, Joe, is that when I had a good outcome with you, it was when I prepared you for what was coming. So
yeah, so the body is now prepared and your mind is prepared. That's the most important thing. Your mind is prepared for the outcome, so you're not just diving into it. Your body your body and your mind have time to prepare. The outcome is probably much better.
I remember when you were little and you would stay with me, and this was when you were really little, like you were maybe like 6 years old, 7 years old. I would write out an itinerary for you because I knew that, adjusting for you when you stayed over, it was an adjustment for you. So I would put in 2-hour blocks. I don't know if you remember that. I'd give you a sheet of paper with 2-hour blocks of things that we were going to do that day. And we didn't always do them, but at least we had it prepared. This is what we're planning for you. So maybe that's even not a bad idea. So pre-Thanksgiving now, we're doing this audio on a Monday, right, Joe?
Yeah.
So maybe
put it together.
If you have a child with special needs, and especially if this child works well with schedules, build a schedule out for the kid, for the child, and let them know what's going to be happening when, to the best of your abilities.
Yeah.
I guess being Thanksgiving, kind of let things slide a little bit. Let the kid eat a little early. Let him eat a little later. Let him have what he wants.
So
Yeah.
And I feel
any other bits of advice you can give, Joe, on the Thanksgiving meal and what you may want to bring to the table? No pun intended.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
But yeah, I feel like in certain instances, maybe not in all cases, but in some cases, it may be a bit difficult for the kid to eat around other people.
That's another
or
issue.
Like
Good
family,
point.
even like other like family members, like distant family members. I mean, like ones that they've never met before. They might be uncomfortable around them. In those cases, I feel like it's better off to like put them to like a different room or whatever. Let them eat alone
if they want
to. If they want to. If they hang out with their family, that's great, and actually that's a really good thing. But like I said, if they feel like uncomfortable with eating in front of other people, let them kind of go a different room,
All right, so to tie this little segment up in a bow, right? We're saying that, you be prepared to cook alternate foods, plan ahead, and let the child know that there's certain times when everyone's going to be eating. Let them know who they're eating with, right, Joe? Like you were just saying. And if if the child wants some privacy,
yes,
you can give the child a little privacy. And I think another thing, Joe, and last but not least, a safe space. Because sometimes when Thanksgiving, a lot of people around, right? And sometimes, I know you like having some safe space for yourself, right?
Yeah, like somewhere,
even to
it
this
could
day.
even be like somewhere to go to, like just in case the child gets overwhelmed or is, feeling stressed, they can go to a different space and calm down. It could be their room, it could be a room that's, just any room that's distant from other people or stressful things or whatever they're stressed by, really.
What if they're going to someone else's house where they're not? Now, do you think that's a challenge? So maybe you have to talk to the person's house.
The person they're going to. Yeah, like if they're going to, a friend's house or an aunt's uncle house, you might have to talk to them and let them know and say, okay, can you come up with like a space that they can do, to have like a different table that he or she can eat at or whatever. And those kind of things, you have to make like arrangements, with the person that you're going to.
Yeah, so pre-planning and just, having a great time and being very thankful, right, Joe?
Yep.
All right, so thank you very much and for listening to this, and hopefully we gave some decent advice to someone who may be challenged with their first Thanksgiving or maybe have stumbled a little bit in the past.
Yep. On to the next segment.
Yep.
Go.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the segment, and what we're going to be talking about today is some news, right?
Yep.
Now, one of the things we like to incorporate on here is to talk about some of the things that may be coming up in the news and and our takes on it. And one of the things we were doing when Joe and I were talking about trying to pull some news stories out there that we wanted to talk about, everything seemed to be so depressing and sad and blah. And that's not what we want from this podcast, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's not good stuff.
So we wanted to share some of the things that we came across that were somewhat amusing to us, and some of the things you may be able to discuss at Thanksgiving, and have something curious to say that, hey, I learned this in the news, I learned that, and it's not something that's going to get carrots thrown at you, right, Joe?
Yeah.
So we got to stay out of
that's good.
political. But the first one that we wanted to talk about, and first news story, has a minor politics to it,
But
but
not
not
really
really
that much.
So what we're going to tell you in advance is, okay, do not talk about this at the table, right? And
Okay.
we'll get to the subject as to why. So we'll talk about that. But Joe, I want you to read the first story because
Okay.
you're in broadcasting, and part of broadcasting is reading out stories, right?
Okay,
So-
and
Why don't you read the story from the headline?
Camilla Parker
Bowles.
Balls?
Bowles. Camilla Parker Bowles.
Can't stop talking about Joe Biden's long fart. Yeah, President Biden apparently left out a long, loud fart while speaking with the Duchess of Cornwall at the COP26 summit. Sometimes you gotta get that gas out. She hasn't stopped talking about his long fart, and apparently they're making small talk when the president decided that he had to fart, and they all went out.
So, and this is actually a New York Post article written on November 7th, so this is a little bit older, right?
Yeah.
Now, do we talk... Now, if you're president of the United States, right, you got to hold that in, right?
It's not easy to hold
But a
it in.
long one?
Yeah, that's probably why, because he's trying to hold it in, and it just comes all out. Comes
Now-
all out at once.
This is not a story, really, that you would be talking about at the dinner table, because that's not really a
Yeah.
subject matter. However, this could be a subject that you could be talking about when you're watching football, right, Joe?
Probably.
Because the Detroit Lions will be getting beaten up by halftime, and you're going to need something to talk about. So you could talk
I
about...
don't know if the Detroit Lions, they might win, who knows?
I don't know. They've been pretty bad for about, 70, 80 years right now.
They have been.
But you know what? This is something that you can talk about at the... Not at the dinner table, right?
But at other events during Thanksgiving.
Now, why do you think she keeps talking about it, though?
I don't know.
She's the Duchess, right?
I really don't know. I don't know why she's like so obsessed with this guy's fart, but
It must have been a really, really long one, like she said. Now, listen,
Okay.
Joe, did you know that I actually have audio footage of this?
Yeah, I actually think I did. You told me that.
All right, so we're going to play the audio footage of the Joe Biden and Camilla Parker Bowles incident, okay?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Wow, that's loud. Ooh. Sounds like a real stinky one. Well, actually, no, that's yeah.
I can taste
It's
it
a real stinky one.
on the tongue.
It was awkward.
I'll be honest with you, I did fart. Is that onion and ketchup? It stinks.
So apparently Joe Biden had some onion and ketchup.
Disclaimer, that was not real footage of the fart.
Yes, we don't want to get sued by the Biden administration.
Anyways,
All right, so
let's
we have another news story.
Okay.
And the other news story is, let's see, the other... Now, there's so little good news, or...
Okay.
So everything is all depressing news, but I was able to find another decent, strange story. But this story is new luxury vacation being dumped in the middle of nowhere. So apparently people that can live a luxurious lifestyle are taking this type of vacation where this company basically will drop you off in the middle of nowhere and then you get to find your way home. I guess they don't tell you where you're going to be going.
Well, that's kind of adventurous. You get to like go to like weird habitats, but I don't know if I'd want to do that.
So this is the New Yorker article. A client is dropped somewhere spectacular and scantily populated and challenged to find his or her way.
Scantily populated.
Scantily. Sorry.
Scantily
Now,
populated.
I'm sorry, you're in the broadcasting. I don't read well out loud. But you're fantastic. Scantily. Yeah, that was way wrong. Okay, scantily populated. Thank you, New Yorker, for using words that I have trouble reading. From the moment that after left me in the valley, I was allotted 2 days to walk to a rendezvous point 18 miles away over and around mountains. I had stuffed my backpack with everything that I thought I might need within strict guidelines set by the company, I guess. No matches, no tent, no phone. My pack included clothes, paper, maps, a compass, 2 GPS trackers, spare batteries, notepads, and pens, and a big knife, and a sleeping bag, and flashlights, and a fire lighting equipment, dried food, a few energy drinks, 3 liters of water, mosquito shelter, a roll mat, and a tarp. Would you like to do something like this?
Probably not. I wouldn't find my way back.
I wouldn't want to do it either. If I have enough money to go on vacation, I'm going to an island, right?
yeah.
With the beach
Yeah,
and
and a
swimming with
cool
dolphins
resort.
and things like that, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go to in the middle of a desert and then try to like find my way back to civilization. I'd probably get lost and then would probably just be stuck there and wouldn't be a good time. So no, I would not want to do that.
Now, if you were going to be dropped off somewhere, okay, would you want it to be in the mountains, on a beach, in the desert, or let's say where it's in cold or snow?
Like on like at least like on a beach though, because at least like on a beach, you're like, you know, you're kind of like surrounded by sand. You get to still like have some palm trees or whatever. Like if you're on like like mountains or whatever, mountains you're gonna freeze. Deserts you're gonna get heat stroke, and the other places, other cold places, you're also gonna freeze. So yeah, that's not a good idea. And I'd probably want to be dropped off the beach.
Me too. I'd like the beach too.
Mm-hmm.
And our last story.
Yes, and this is actually my
Joe's story.
And
Yeah,
this
I
one
had the silly fart story. I'm sorry. I brought that one to the table.
Okay, Target is actually, this actually has to do with Thanksgiving. Target actually announced that they're never going to open on Thanksgiving Day ever. Again, they're going to permanently have a new policy where they're not going to open any of their stores on Thanksgiving.
I love this idea. Mm-hmm. You know why I love this idea?
Why?
Because I was one of those people that had to work on holidays for many years. Of course, yes. I worked in a stationery store. I worked for an insurance company that was open 24 hours a day and 7 days a week and had to do a job where I had to be there. So I am very, very thoughtful of the people that have to work on Thanksgiving Day. So I think this is a wonderful thing. I hope more companies follow suit. And I'm glad a big company like Target has actually made this public, and I think it's a wonderful way of gaining good publicity, Joe. Because I don't really think anyone wants to work on Thanksgiving.
I don't think so either. Most people want to kind of, like they want to stay home with their families and spend time with the people they love.
It's to me, it's so important that people have the opportunity to have some downtime, and I think bravo to Target for doing this, and please let all the other companies out there, the competitors, also do the same thing, right, Joe?
Yeah, Walmart and Kohl's are also they're closing this Thanksgiving too, but they haven't made it permanent yet. As well, I think there was like another one that's maybe considering it, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I do remember those two, Walmart and Kohl's, are they're closing this Thanksgiving, but I don't know about other ones in the future for them. Hopefully they follow suit. because I'd like to see that in more stores. Honestly, I feel like opening on Thanksgiving, I've never really loved that. Like, I've always thought it was kind of like, you know, kind of dumb, because it's like, well, you're supposed to be spending time with your family and you're just sitting at work. Like, that just sounds kind of like not a good time.
Yeah, and I guess the only places, I could understand a place being open in the morning on Thanksgiving. You know, it's like Thanksgiving morning. Let's just say you're a food establishment, like a supermarket or something like that. Be open in the morning just because sometimes people want a last minute item.
Yeah.
You know, they forgot the cranberries, or they forgot the yams, or they need some potatoes to mash up.
But in the afternoon, you should be closed.
But by 11 o'clock, should be closed. And Joe is still dealing on the back end, and as you could hear it, a little bit of a cough, but he's feeling much better, which was one of the reasons why we delayed the podcast 2 days. We try to do it on a Saturday the last 2 weeks. Because of some unforeseen issues, we had to push back a few days. But Joe's feeling a lot better, even though he's still coughing a little bit. He's doing amazing, because that's the first time I heard you cough all day.
Yeah, I've been a lot better now.
And also, Joe, one of the things about Thanksgiving and stores being closed, you know what the next day after Thanksgiving is called,
Black
right?
Friday.
Exactly. So there's going to be plenty of business on Black Friday, right? And you can open at 12:01 if you want to on Black Friday. I think a lot of companies do that too, right?
Yeah, Black Friday is I think shopping on Black Friday is not really. It's not something that I personally
Some
like
people
to do.
love it.
Like
I
not
don't want
online. I would go online on Black Friday, but if you're going like in the store, be prepared for lots of crowds, getting trampled on, and overall, people would like push each other, shove each other. They're like, move over, I gotta get this TV. No, it's mine. And they'll like fight. It's crazy on Black Friday. I just feel like I would not shop on Black Friday. Okay, well, that concludes our segment, and now we're on to our next one.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome to our IRL segment on the podcast. And today we're going to be talking about thankfulness.
Yeah, and Joe, I wanted to ask you, what are you thankful for this year?
I am thankful for many things. I'm thankful for the fact that we have clean water. I'm thankful for the country that I live in. I'm thankful for all my family members. And I'm also thankful for the fact that I live in a great home.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? We are thankful for everyone who's out there listening to this and sharing it and liking it. And we've heard such great feedback. And this is our little IRL segment, so you may hear a little background stuff. But one of the things we want to continue to do is to continue to do this podcast throughout the year, and we're going to be coming up with a Christmas episode soon, right?
Yeah, that will
be a little year in review. We'll talk about the year's events and what we're looking forward to in 2022.
Yeah, but that will be in another probably month, because that's when Christmas is.
Yeah, and we have a lot of topics that we can continue to talk about. And Joe, anytime if you hear of any topics that you want to talk about with the special needs community, if anyone ever tells you, if anyone out there wants a topic raised, feel free to contact us. And
you can always do that. Just like go to the Facebook page, Thinking is Infinite. Just search that up. On Facebook, you'll get a page, and you can comment on any of the posts on that page. We would love to see people who have topics and have experiences with things. We have read from those topics before, but we do want to see you guys and your feedback on things. We want to see more people coming up with more topics, because hopefully we can maybe even expand and grow the podcast and our topic assortment. Right, Dad?
Yep. And one of the things that we encourage everyone to do is, if you're one of those people waiting on one of those Black Friday lines at Target or Walmart or whatever, just throw on our podcast. And if you like it, put it on speaker. Right? Yeah. So everyone can listen to it while they're waiting online. They're a what do they call that? A captured audience. They can't
Yeah.
leave, right, Joe? So
Yeah.
even if they hear some things or they hear things they don't like, they're stuck. They have to listen to it. Well, we wanted to
Okay.
thank you all for this 2.5 month journey that we're on so far, and
Yep.
and we have a lot of people that as soon as the new episode comes out, they're listening, and we're so thankful for that.
Yep, we are. And anyway,
I
that
want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving,
happy Thanksgiving, and that concludes our podcast.
and see you next week.
See you next week. And that's the end of our podcast. We uploaded this today because it's actually right near Thanksgiving. So, yeah. See you next week. Bye. Or more like Saturday.